everybody. Welcome to our Croydon Vision Facebook Live event on a Thursday afternoon. I hope you enjoyed last week. So last week we had Karen Underwood from the Croydon Sensory team, and we talked about traveling, about learning routes, white canes, freedom passes. So I hope you enjoyed that session. I certainly learned a lot myself. And it was great to share our experiences with our viewers and all the comments. So keep bringing those comments in. And I'm just going to, before I introduce you to our guest speaker, I'm just going to tell you about next week. So next week we're having a tech session with Catherine, and we're going to take you through our C-Hub. So our C-Hub is an area of our website where all our videos go. So for example, this session and all the other sessions, Facebook Live sessions we do on Thursday afternoons, we record them, Ola edits them, and we'll put them on our website so you can view them when you want, or you can show them to others as well. So Catherine's going to do a tour of the C-Hub to show you where everything is stored, how you can get fantastic videos. And we also do podcasts, and podcasts are like a video, like an interview that we do with visitors, with guest speakers and staff, volunteers or members, and we talk about all sorts of different topics, and there's some interesting ones to listen to. So I will let Catherine take you through those next week. And the other thing we're going to do next week is that we're going to look at shopping online, because with this lockdown, a lot of us have had to shop online or bank online, and we're going to talk about how people do it, our fears, our successes, and our frustrations. So next week we have two subjects in a way. So banking online and shopping online, and the tour of the C-Hub, so you can see where things are and how to view, how to access our videos. So for today, it's health and well-being, and with us we have Vanessa. Welcome, Vanessa.
Hi.
So Vanessa does talking therapies for Croydon Vision. And Vanessa, do you want to sort of talk to our viewers and say a little bit who you are, maybe, and what you do, and sort of that kind of thing?
Okay. So welcome everybody. My name is Vanessa Gordon. I am the talking therapies person for Croydon Vision. So I'm a qualified integrative therapist. And what does that mean? It actually means that I mix a lot of things together that can help you more. So it's like a bigger toolbox, I suppose, of ways of helping people. Some people stick to one approach, but I feel like if you've got lots of different ones, it can kind of help a bigger cross section of people.
And Vanessa, sorry, I'm going to just stop you there. So can you give us two or three different examples of approaches? Because some people might never have had counselling or have no idea what it's about. So just to give us a flavour would be nice.
Okay, so one of them that I use, or the main ones that I use, are person-centred. So that looks at what's going on for you now. Why have you come for counselling?
Yeah.
What are the thoughts, the feelings, the situations that's happening for you right now? It also looks at the things like what are the strengths you've got, what are the resources, what are the support that you have around you, so we can look at how we can start to utilise some of those things.
Yeah.
And also look at where you want to be. What is it that you want at the end of it?
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like, in a way, measured, because if you know where you want to go to, you know where you're moving towards.
Yeah.
And I suppose, I think with person-centred, that obviously does that. Another theory that I use, which I use more often than not with most people, is psychodynamic. That actually goes back to the past. So that looks at childhood. That looks at your experiences. That looks at the patterns that may have been created in childhood that you learned from others. It looks at the things that you've been taught about life from what you've seen. And how that might be impacting on you now. And I think that affects people a lot more unconsciously.
Oh, interesting. And with this lockdown, we hear a lot that people have been affected. They have a lot of low mood. People are worried about their jobs and their lives, and people are feeling quite low. How do you find that maybe people with sight loss, people who are blind, visually impaired, do you think it's affected them differently? What have you found?
That's a good question. I feel like maybe some of the people listening may be able to answer that a bit more. But what I find is that for some people, they already felt like they were on the lockdown.
Yeah,
Because of maybe a visual impairment that's just come up in maybe the last year or so, and people are still trying to get to grips with that. Or
yeah,
maybe some people that have maybe had issues in the past and are still kind of plodding along, but the lockdown has then added more pressure.
right.
With lots of different things. I think not being able to go out, not being able to have fresh air daily, if that was something that you did, and therefore a lot of members being able to go to the park and just being able to take in that fresh air was really, really important.
Yeah,
I also feel like there's a lot of fear
yeah,
around the virus, which has been, obviously it's been what's been shown. So people are a little bit unsure that even if they can come out, whether they
yeah,
should or not. There's a lot of people that have other issues and are shielding,
yeah,
and they
yeah,
have other people who they're shielding for, so it makes
yeah.
their social circle a lot smaller. And even for someone like Wellbeing Vision,
Yeah.
some of your services then have been reduced that could really make the difference in people's lives because of that face-to-face contact.
Yeah, that is very true, Vanessa, and we're missing all our members because
Yeah, I'm
even
pretty sure
as
I hear that a lot.
even as staff, you kind of they become your friends in a way, and you get used to hearing somebody saying hello to somebody, and it's like a human contact, and we
Yeah.
do miss our
For
members
some
as
people, it's their
well.
only contact.
Yes, true. Now, Vanessa, I mean, in people around me, if you want, very few people know about counselling, and people are a little bit afraid, a little bit scared of taking on these services. What have you found out that people are scared of?
Maybe it was a belief that was held from before.
I think so.
It might have been a family belief that, or a cultural belief that, we don't go outside of our family to talk about things. It could be not knowing what to expect. It could be not trusting services, maybe because of previous experiences.
Yeah.
I think it's more about, I feel like different people look at counselling in different ways. I feel like for me personally, my objective with counselling, not always possible, but it's many things. It's about motivating, it's about uplifting, it's about educating, it's about healing, it's about inspiring,
That's
it's
lovely. I
about
love those words. That is
uplifting us.
fantastic. In a sense, I suppose I wouldn't have linked inspiring with counselling, but I can really see that thinking about it, it really does.
Your
And
story is inspiring. A lot of
yeah,
people's stories, they just don't realise it. Everyone's got a
yeah,
story that really could help somebody else. I've heard stories in Wellbeing Vision that I feel like other people would really benefit from hearing.
yeah.
Where people have kind of come out the other side, but have learned little tips that,
Yeah,
the
fantastic.
sensory world becomes really that much more important.
Yeah,
That's a great tip.
you know,
Because even as a sighted person, we don't just do things with sight. We use our ears, we use
yes,
our mouth, we hear, we ask questions. We use our hands.
yeah.
So we learn things in
Different,
multiple ways, and it
absolutely.
doesn't mean that that's totally lost. It's just about learning a new way.
I think you're right. And the time when I became visually impaired and I went to Dorton College and then I went to West Kent College, and I was supported by Dorton College. It was a unit of visually impaired students. And I was doing a PA class, and all the other students in the class were fully sighted. So I was the only visually impaired person. And as a PA course, you learn how to do shorthand, and you learn how to type really quickly. And in a sense, I could learn all the theory, I could do the shorthand, but I could never do it at speed because I couldn't see what I was writing in a sense, and even using a CCTV magnifier, you can't do it at speed, and all the typing exercises were all audio, so we're all visual, so all the little sort of software they had, you would read it and quickly you'd learn to type quicker and quicker, and so I couldn't use that, and I felt I felt like it was a little bit like I would come to nothing. I would never achieve anything because I couldn't do like my fellow students. And I got really upset, and I went to see the college counsellor. That was my first time I experienced counselling. And you know, after talking about 2 or 3 times with her, that was it. She just showed me that I was putting too much pressure on myself, that I could still do all these other things in the course, and that, okay, well, there are things that I can't do, but there were such little things in a sense, you know, and
it wasn't even a con. It just wasn't as fast. You learned to do them.
Exactly, yeah. And so for me, that experience of counselling was amazing, because I think I didn't realise the power it had to heal you, to help you go forward. And so that was an amazing experience that I had. And so I'd like to share it. And let's see if our members, has anybody have any experience of counselling? Anybody out there, any viewers want to share anything? Or if you have a question for Vanessa, do we have anybody, Ola, who's typing in the comments?
Not yet.
Not yet,
Everyone's
okay.
still saying hi to each other.
Okay. That's what happens with these comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Social.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay, well, we'll keep chatting. So, viewers, if you have a question for Vanessa, do type it in the comments. If you have a question about counselling, or if you'd like to share one of your experience, keep going, keep typing comments. So Vanessa, another thing I wanted to ask you is that we were talking about this lockdown, about things, you know, sort of things being quite grim for some people. Mm-hmm. What kind of things can people do to keep healthy, to keep a good mood, to sort of help them along? What kind of things would you recommend?
I think it's different for everyone, but my main one is breathing, to be honest. I know that we breathe anyway, but we don't actually breathe properly. We don't breathe to kind of re-energise us.
Okay.
And I think it really does help to kind of make us feel quite calm.
So do you want to take us through one or two, through what you do, so we can all try and practice it?
So one of them is called the box breathing. So there's many people that have had counselling out there in Croydon Vision that's probably got this already. But it's like a square, so a square box with 4 sides that are equal.
Yeah.
So each side is equal to 4.
Yeah.
So what we do is we take a breath in for 4. But when we breathe in, we breathe in through our nose.
Okay.
Then we hold that breath for the count of 4.
Right.
Then we breathe out for the count of 4.
Okay.
And then we hold that breath for the count of 4. So that's one whole complete square.
Do you want to count us in? Shall we all try it all together?
When you breathe out through your mouth. So just remember, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And everything is to a count of 4. Yeah?
How fast should we count for? What's the kind of speed?
I'm going to count you in, yeah?
Okay.
So, okay, you ready?
Yeah, ready?
All right, let's start. So we're breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're holding that breath. 2, 3, 4. We're breathing out through the mouth. 2, 3, 4. We're holding that breath. 2, 3, 4. So that's one whole cycle.
So it's quite slow, isn't it? It's quite slow. So I suppose in a sense it kind of calms you down, because you have to slow your nervousness, you have to your anxiety.
And that's what it does. It calms down your nervous system.
And
so it kind of, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling overly emotional and you feel like
Yeah.
you need to calm yourself in a moment, that's a really good one to do.
Fantastic. And how many
And I
times?
would do it about 3 times.
3 times.
So about 3
that's
times.
fantastic.
And I feel like after that, you'll feel kind of a sense of calm.
Excellent. Well, viewers, I hope you will take that on board, try it out, and let us know if you felt the benefit of it. Thank you so much, Vanessa. That's really... Now, do we have any comments, Ola?
I've got a question.
Yes.
Saying, Vanessa, what are your top tips for surviving lockdown?
Surviving
Top
lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one, actually. I saw something the other day that I thought was really good. So it was writing different things or having, say, a list of activities that you choose. And anytime you feel bored or you're at a loose end, pick one. So it could be watch something. It could be go for a walk. It could be, I don't know, do jumping jacks for 10 seconds. It could be do that breathing exercise.
Yeah.
It could be do something creative, and you get to choose.
Okay, so 10 items, 10 activities to do, and then when you feel bored and at a loose end, you pick one.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a nice
it just
one.
makes every day different.
Yeah.
I like variety, but I feel like sometimes when this has been going on for nearly a year, sometimes structure is important as well.
Yeah.
So being able to know that, okay, for certain parts of the day, there's something that I can set my mind to. So I really like meditation. I think most people who've spoken to me know this. And meditation music. And I also do Reiki. So Reiki is like a natural healing. It's like placing your hands on people to kind of help the energy flow in your body. It helps to unblock any blockages, and we can block our body through things like stress, anxiety, fear,
and
bad
Vanessa,
experiences.
Have you been able to do Reiki with the lockdown? Because obviously, if you placing your hands on somebody's head, you need to be close contact, or can you do it actually?
No, I haven't been able to do face to face, but I have been able to do distance. So I can do distance, so I can send it to people. And generally, I get quite a good result from that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Does it have the same effect?
It does, actually. I had a friend who had hurt her knee. So I sent her some, and her neck was hurting, and it was gone.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah. It helps on a physical, a spiritual, and an emotional level. It helps to clear. So I think with energy, it depends on what you know about energy. I think the energy world moves a lot faster than we ever would. And being in touch with your spirit. So I really kind of try to encourage clients to get in contact with their inner self.
Yeah.
You know, that's a really nice place to be. It loves when you talk to it nice. It loves when you tell it nice things, because that's what it is. It's love at the core. So sometimes, because of experiences, maybe we don't speak very nicely to ourselves, and we don't think nice things. And it's a separation of who we are at the core. So when we say nice things to ourselves, our body reacts in a really lovely way.
That's very interesting. That's really, really powerful. Okay. Yes.
I've got a question. So, for example, say there are people that think counselling or therapy makes them feel some kind of weak, or put them in a kind of mindset. So even though they need it, they usually don't want to agree to it. Or how do you get people like that to actually take up counselling?
I feel like vulnerability, that's what was just described there. A lot of people see vulnerability as a weakness. I see it as a strength. I see it as a connector of people. Like, if I give you an example, when this lockdown first happened and you guys came together and someone said, "Oh my God, this lockdown's been really easy," how easy or hard would it have been for another person to say, "Oh my God, I really struggled"? But when someone says, "Oh my God, I found it really, really difficult. There were times where I cried, I miss my family," other people would also talk. I see vulnerability as strength, in the sense that asking for help and trying to better yourself and trying to make sense of what sometimes doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's a strength.
I think it usually depends on like the kind of people they have around them. So, because I don't know, but I'm just gonna speak mainly for guys. unless you have guys that you've actually been intimate to, like had a very, very personal conversation with, you wouldn't want to admit that you've had a hard time. Or some people might be they probably like swimming in debt or something, but with their friends around, they don't want to agree. They just want to put up that persona that, oh yeah, I'm a strong guy, and it's kind of a.
And what do we do about that?
Yes.
So I suppose that's what talking therapy is about, isn't it? It's a safe space. No one's going back to your friend to tell them what you said. It's where you get, as I said, to make sense of everything that's going on for you. And for some men, I feel like they've been taught that they don't have emotions. They're all human. We all have emotions, but maybe they've been taught how to deal with it in a different way. You know, showing emotion is seen as weak, crying is seen as weak, as opposed to we all cry. It's a human reaction. So sometimes it is about psychoeducation, and a lot of the work that I do sometimes is about re-educating people on different perspectives, helping them to develop new paradigms. Paradigms are just, I suppose, ways of thinking.
So Vanessa, seeing what Ola has said, do you think that men or young men would find it harder to access to sort of take up counselling, or women, or do you feel there's?
I feel like there's less men, but I do have men.
Yeah.
I would say maybe, I don't know, 30-40% of my caseload, and not just at Croydon Vision, elsewhere, are men. And I feel like there are more and more men that are now starting to talk about things. Yeah. And I think it's a great thing, because as we all help ourselves, we better this world.
Absolutely, and it does help to when you understand your emotions. I think your brain is clearer. You can think better.
You can have better relationships.
Absolutely.
You can think better of yourself.
Yeah. Oh, that's very powerful. That's excellent. Thank you so much for sharing all this with us. I hope that people will consider taking up talking therapies or learn more about it.
I've got another question. So, on average, how many counselling sessions does an average person need?
Ooh.
On average, it depends.
Yeah.
Because I find what people come to counselling for, or what they say they come to counselling for, isn't actually what they come to counselling for. There's always something else underneath.
Yes.
So it depends on how simple it is, I suppose. But I would say probably 12 to 16 sessions. I think in 8 sessions we've seen some really good progress. But I think maybe if people were looking long term to actually, start something and start to raise awareness, learn new things, heal, identify things that were problematic, and look at things that might need to change and what we might need to implement moving forward, I'd say about 3 to 4 months.
Oh, yes. And Vanessa, if somebody didn't know much about counselling and wanted to learn more, are there any books that or any authors that you think that you've read that you feel that would have inspired you, or would be good for somebody to read to learn about counselling?
Yeah, there is a book actually. I'm just looking at my bookshelf. I'm trying to think, can I see it?
I've put you on the spot there.
And it's actually quite easy to read because it's written in 2 parts.
Yes.
One part is as a helper, and a lot of us do helping work.
Yes.
Croydon Vision does helping work.
Absolutely.
By being able to assess and put something in place for somebody, it's helping work. And it kind of looks at the crossover. So I feel like that's a really kind of easy book to read. I do believe it's a CPCAB book, which is the counselling framework.
Okay.
And I think, bear with me one moment. It's called Counselling Skills and Studies.
So maybe if, Ola, do you want to type it in so people can get it? And we'll check to see, maybe we'll check and see if the RNIB have it in audio. See if we can find some in audio. Because, the last time I went to a library, I think it was in Streatham, a Lambeth library, and they had a whole list of books people could read for Wellbeing and Selfcare, and none of them were in audio, so it was a big disappointment. So
self-care books are so amazing. I've been reading self-care books Oh, probably since in my 20s. It's just something I really like. I feel like we are all here to develop and grow, like a bit like a plant. But the only thing is, we've got consciousness.
Yeah.
We're like, we're the same as the trees, we're the same as the animals. I sound a bit mad. We all are living, breathing organisms, is what I'm trying to say. We all reproduce.
I think it's definitely one of the mottos of Croydon Vision is to develop, whether we're volunteers, staff, members. I think we all believe in developing whoever we are into sort of lifelong development and keep learning, keep bettering ourselves, keep making the world a better place, really, in the end.
Definitely, and I feel like when you don't, you can kind of feel a bit stagnant with life. Like,
that's when you get bored.
It all seem a bit samey every day.
You get bored and
yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's really good. And let's ask the viewers. Anybody can recommend any books or any programs they've seen, maybe about counselling, about staying healthy, about well-being.
Amazing book about staying healthy. Louise Hay, Heal Your Body.
Heal Your Body.
Life. Yeah, Louise Hay's amazing.
We've got ones. Toad Goes to Counselling. Toad Goes to Counselling.
Toad Goes to Counselling.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Nice.
I think they're on Audible as well, so you can get them where you can listen to them.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Okay.
So you were saying something about was it when sometimes people come when they're doing counselling and they come for a certain thing, and then you eventually find out that's not actually what their problem is.
No.
How do you do that? Because from my point of view, they genuinely think what they came to counselling for is the problem.
No, I feel like sometimes what they came to counselling for is the symptom, and what we then hit on is the root. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So they're all part of the same thing. It just comes from a deeper place.
Oh.
And Vanessa, what you just said was maybe something we could look at. So what would be the symptoms? What maybe even for ourselves, or if we have friends or family around us, what are the symptoms to look out for that you can see?
Symptoms: depression, anxiety, pains in the body.
Okay.
Apparent pains. Use of defense mechanisms. Obviously, people don't generally know more than maybe avoidance and denial, but there's at least another 10 that kind of help us not to feel hurt and pain at the time. But if we use them for too long, it can kind of cause a little bit of a distortion.
Do people come for counselling if they find they're drinking too much or using alcohol or drugs too much?
Sometimes it's just about people being able to process. I feel like counselling is a place where people can process. A lot of people have been through a lot of things. They have a story. Everyone has a story of their life. And a lot of the time we're either not given the space or the time to process, because life gets in the way. I still have to go to work. I still have responsibilities, possibly as a parent. I never really got to stop and think about how that thing affected me. So I suppose counselling is that safe space where we get to unpack some of those things, because actually, although I don't think about that thing every day, I still carry it in its head.
No, that's really good.
Also, I have a question. It's so when most people talk about counselling, or say someone's going for counselling, they just assume that maybe that person has a serious issue, is why they've gotten to the point where they need counselling. Can counselling just be like a thing where you do just because you just want to have a conversation with someone? You don't actually have to have an actual problem to go for counselling.
I feel like we called it talking therapy here for a reason.
Yeah.
It's talking.
Yep. Okay.
I feel like that's so understandable. I don't need to say anything more.
We've got a question. So from a young age, boys are taught to bottle up their emotions. Would you agree?
No, totally. That's so wrong, I feel. Obviously, it's what people have been taught. But I feel like Same way females have emotions, we get upset, we feel hurt, we feel pain, and we're allowed to release it. I think when you don't release certain emotions, it gets stuck inside of you.
Yeah, well,
It causes anger, it causes frustration, and sometimes for males they are seen as the acceptable emotions, which doesn't bode well for relationships. If that's the only way. So sometimes we have to learn new ways. We have to learn, why do we believe that? Why is that the only response? Sometimes it's actually a conditioned response. And what we mean by that is that it's something I did so long ago that from automatic pilot, I just instantly go when a situation occurs that might be stressful. This is my response. I don't think about it. I just respond.
Oh, it's just going to the point where I've seen situations whereby, say, a guy would give the same or react in an emotional way the same way maybe a girl would normally do, not anything overly like over the top, but then they'd be classified as overly emotional just because they showed some emotion. That
I feel like we need to re-educate people.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
We're all human beings. We all have the same functions.
How would we start going about
we all have the same emotions. Why can some get to express it and the others have to choose to only, that it's choice, it's will.
I think probably people don't value emotions enough, in a sense.
They really need to, because it has a real big effect on your body.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when you show, you show your emotions, you have to, if you own them and you say, yeah, that's what I feel, that is me, that's how I react, and because that, I am emotionally kind of mature, I have big emotions. I think it makes you a richer person, it makes you more whole in a way.
It's a very tricky one, because this would take educating the whole of human race about it's okay for boys to show emotions.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's a job that can be done.
A lot of singers sing about it. A lot of pop songs and singers. There's a lot of songs about.
There's messages everywhere. Billboard songs, in books, in videos. If people really were tapping in and could really get conscious with it, they'd see there's messages for them everywhere. There's many ways to educate.
Yeah, fantastic.
We've got social media now. Look at this amazing tool. 20 years ago.
And this video is going to go around, it's going to become viral, and everybody will learn about it.
I feel like counselling is a great thing. I've had counselling maybe about 3 or 4 times in my life, and as part of maybe of my training, you have to also have counselling as well.
Yes,
so you have to be able to satisfy a number of hours each year. So it was something like, I think, 25 hours each year you had to do. And I feel like it's an amazing thing, because sometimes there are things that we're not aware of.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not aware of how things have impacted on us, or how they've shaped us, or how they've made that be the reaction that we have to that particular thing that we can't explain.
And Vanessa, we at Croydon Vision, we also help people of working age to find employment, to sort of develop their kind of their personality, their skills, their lives. And so what made you go into counselling as a profession? What made you go into counselling?
I think I've been doing helping work for quite a while. I'd worked in a youth offending team for about 10 years. I'd managed a youth offending team. I'd done some gangs work. So I was always working with people around behaviour and how they acted. And I feel like from a young age, I have always been interested in human behaviour. That's always been my thing. So I think by doing that particular work, it kind of also showed me that sometimes we need to go deeper. We can't just continually work on the surface and expect a different result. Sometimes we need to look at the mindset in the way that people think and the way that people have been taught to think. People don't generally teach us how to think. People don't generally teach us healthy coping mechanisms.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of education that needs to happen around there. And And I got into it and I felt like, yeah, actually, this feels like the best fit yet.
Yeah.
It was everything I ever did added to this. It was amazing.
Yeah. So did you go back to get a certificate, a diploma? Did you go back to learn?
So I did another, I think 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, yeah.
At 39, I just stopped working and I thought, no, I'm stopping. I'm going to retrain, which probably no one chooses to do at that age. But trauma will make you do things.
And looking at it from a professional point of view, do you think it's a profession that somebody who's visually impaired could do?
Definitely.
Oh, that's very good.
Definitely. And also, you know, there are going to be people who are visually impaired who want counselling.
Yes.
As we know, as I'm here.
Absolutely.
So I think that it doesn't preclude you.
Yeah.
I don't think it precludes you from anything. I think limitations are in the mind.
There we go. So we'll definitely encourage people to read up on counselling, to learn about it, to be inspired and to
even if they don't do counselling, a level 2 in counselling is a really good thing in terms of just self-development and what you learn about yourself.
Fantastic. Well, Ola, how are we doing with comments?
I was going to ask most of the questions that they had.
Fantastic.
Now they're just talking about the book that the Toad goes to
Toad
counselling.
goes to counselling.
Yeah.
Is it a children's book or is it an adult book?
I have no idea.
We'll have to look into that one. Well, Vanessa, thank you so much for joining us today. For your
Thank you, it's been a pleasure.
For your insight on counselling and sharing your stories. So, viewers, I hope you will join us next week. And Ola, were you going to put the website just down there, the Croydon website? So we're going to be going into there, looking at the C Hub to see where all these videos are stored and how they're organized, how you can view them. And you know, if you have something to say, if you would like to sort of be part of our C Hub, if you have a hobby or if you have an idea, if there's something you'd love to talk about and share, well, you can come to our recording studio and we'll do a podcast and we can put it in the C Hub. You'll see next week. I'm sure it'll be really, really interesting.
Thank you, Vanessa. It was a short session, but at least I learned something because I've never been to counselling before. Yeah.
Oh, you should definitely. I feel like everyone in the world should have at least 6 sessions.
6? I wasn't even going to say
it's
maybe,
just a time to
one.
talk. Just review your life. If you're going in the right direction, great. If you're not, you get to talk about it. You just get to process. I feel like 6 hours or 6 sessions is a real good introduction for anyone that's never had. Just to get to know themselves. I feel like not enough of us know ourselves. So yeah, that's a really good thing.
Okay, well, thank you, Vanessa, and thank you, viewers, and see you next week. So, bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you, bye.